Kristen Field is the Executive Director, Friends of Prentice, fundraiser for Prentice Women's Hospital coming up. We'll talk about that Thursday. Oh, it's this week at Theater on the Lake.
Yeah, October 13th.
All right, let's get Kristen in here. This, of course, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. This is your business 12 months a year, not just in October.
That is definitely true. I think, at Friends of Prentice, we are committed to healthcare throughout the arc of a woman's life. And so this is anything from, reproductive medicine to breast cancer to health equity. And our all-volunteer board is really focused on advancing women's health through funding research at Northwestern Medicine Prentice Women's Hospital. So when we think of breast cancer awareness, this month is just a great opportunity to, again, highlight this type of cancer that affects so many women and really spreading the word about the importance of breast cancer screening and support in other areas of women's health as well.
Jane.
Kristen, hi. Thanks for being on the show. You created a list. I think it's really important for women to hear, and maybe you can give us some of those points off of that list. And not only, get screened, get your mammograms because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but you created this list of how can women put their health first? Because a lot of times we're focusing on our kids, our family, our friends, and then we put ourselves to the back of the list. What can we do?
Well, absolutely. So back in January, since I run a women's health organization, I thought, well, I need to be ensuring that those around me, my board, my family, friends, that I'm leading that. So I actually set aside work time, a work day for my team, spread it to my friends and family to make all of those necessary appointments to, a day focused just on health, to booking the appointments for myself first and then anyone that I take care of after. And actually in doing so, doing a self-check, I actually found a spot and I was able to call, a physician right away and get in. And so, I think it's just important if you see it or feel it, but you have to be able to take the time to do that so that you're able to then, contact a physician, contact your local clinic, wherever you're receiving your health care. So really doing that, and then just those little things. I think we talk about self-care, but it's more actually putting yourself first, having that extra glass of water, finding something green, all of those things are definitely important, especially as the world has kind of come back full speed again.
Why are women not so great in advocating for their own health? Is it because you have to take care of us? Are we the problem?
I think that maybe we're socialized that way. I think there is a big push for women putting themselves first, or just people putting themselves first. And I do think that, still, and even since the pandemic, so many women have left the workforce. Women are still having most of the child rearing responsibilities, and that was really amplified during the last 2 years. So I think it is some of the taking care of things. So now, I think it's just making sure that you set aside, even if it's in January, and you make all those appointments, that they're equally as important, even if it's, taking 2 hours out of your time, just to check on your health.
Yeah, I love the idea of making it a day for you. Maybe it's your office or your family or your friends, and everyone takes that day. And it could be a half day, and then get those appointments in. Get your appointments for your shots, your boosters, your shingle shot. We talk about that a lot too. Like that's something that we should get, and I know that takes a little bit of time. Kristen, your job with Friends of Prentice, you do a lot of things, but you're fundraising, you're networking, you're engaging, but your real job really is you're building that community. You're doing it with love. You're doing it with compassion. You're pulling people in to make the world a better place. That's a pretty good to-do list for your job, right?
It's amazing. I feel like I have the best job in the world. And one of the biggest things that, not only do I get to support women's health, which I think is extremely important, especially right now, but I get to work with one of the most passionate boards really in the whole world. And I've worked with a lot of boards as having a career in different nonprofits, and this board is amazing. And since the beginning of COVID, we've added 35 to our board, now upwards of 70. At Friends of Prentice, they were friends first. So this is men and women coming together because they care about something bigger than themselves. And I think the pandemic really highlighted the support of science and the support of, women's health and the support of the healthcare community. And it really drew people in. And so at Friends of Prentice, not only are we funding, there's breast cancer research that we fund, but we funded a huge grant in COVID and pregnancy to really look at those initial findings, reproductive medicine, health equity, endometriosis, which affects 1 in 10 women. So we're really looking at those, what are those innovative scientific things that doctors and clinicians are looking at that can really help, advance the science. And a lot of times it's a fellow who's just starting out, and we want to give them a chance on a new type of science.
And there's so many ways, you're having an event Thursday, which we'll talk about in a second,
Yes.
but there's so many ways that we can help your efforts. And if someone's looking for a philanthropic home, can you volunteer? Do you have to live in the city? What can we do sort of as outsiders that want to be a part of it?
Absolutely. Well, you can visit our website, first of all, friendsofprentice.org, and there's a couple of ways to be involved. The biggest is, serving on our board, but also there are volunteer opportunities that are coming up. Sometimes we fund research, so there isn't as many hands-on, but I think the biggest thing is you don't have to live in Chicago. Actually, a couple of our board members moved out of state, including one of my best friends, and I was like, you're not leaving the board. So she's in California, and she's flying in this Thursday because, when you fund science, that research is amplified across the country and in turn across the world. So you can have an impact on all of these areas no matter where you are. And I think the pandemic really highlighted that when we went virtual for a lot of things, and we were able to still grow our board. We were able to still give out $1.5 million in funding in the last 2 years. I mean, we were able to do that because we could bring this, like you said, your philanthropic home, this family here. So the website has some great resources, and, none of this is possible without the funding and generosity of our community, and that's mostly from our board.
And funding research is such an essential part of getting these answers.
I think that's an important distinction, right? Because people may want to, sometimes people think, it's a big hospital. What do you mean they're having a fundraiser? What do they need money for? Don't they get money from the patients? It's also off-budget stuff, stuff that comes up in the course of the medical year.
And we are actually, we're a separate 501c3 from the hospital, so we get to choose that we want to fund. The hospital does have some money for brick and mortar, let's say, but they also have special initiatives. But we want to focus on the early stage research. We want to look at things that, women's health is, only synonymous with women having babies. We do a lot more than that. And that was not researched until about 12 years ago did we even have to be included in research studies. And so, there's so much to uncover. And I think I want to normalize for everyone talking about women's health, not just something black and white that you may hear in a political soundbite.
It's impressive. The work you do is needed, and thank you for doing it. The Thursday event is what and where?
So this is our Celebrate with Friends. This is at Theater on the Lake. We had to cancel the event for the last 3 years. So we're having a party at the lake for women's health. So we have a live band, Dr. Bombay. We have DJ Megan Taylor. You'll hear from our grant recipients, interactive food and cocktail stations. So 5:15 p.m., Theater on the Lake. Information's at friendsofprentice.org. We're looking at over 500 of our, nearest and dearest are already joining us, but there's plenty of room. So, we're really, really excited to celebrate all that we've been able to do.
Thank you again. Hope you'll come back and keep us up to date.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Kristen
Field, as we continue to talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And right now, what do you think about in the shower? Think about yourself.
So you can
self-check.
That's right.
Yeah, right there.